The 2016 Mercedes-Benz G550, also known as the G Wagon, it is an iconic SUV and it's been built by Mercedes-Benz for about 37 years and it's still going strong. I'm Jay and welcome to Car Buzz Unboxing Reviews, and I want to thank Mercedes-Benz of Sacramento for letting us come on down and film today. So yes, the 2016 G Wagon, or the Gelandewegen, if you know some German there, which means cross-country vehicle in English. Like I said, it's been in production for 37 years, and from the outside, yeah, it looks very similar, but when you step inside, as you can see right here, it is a fairly modern vehicle with a lot of cool technology. But make no mistake about it, the G550, the G-Wagon series, it is a pure body-on-frame chassis SUV, solid axles front and rear. This is no soccer mom crossover by any means. This is for people who, when they want a G-Wagon, they're going to buy a G-Wagon. I really don't think there's a whole lot of cross-shopping involved, just mainly because there's not much out there quite like it. Without question, the G-Wagon, it's a special vehicle, and it has a special price. And, well, I'll get to pricing in a little bit, but it shouldn't shock you all that much. Now, for 2016, Mercedes-Benz updated the G-Wagon, the G550 here, with a new engine, updated dash design, and various driver aids such as blind spot monitoring and adaptive cruise control, just to keep it modern. And I think from the outside, it almost looks bulletproof. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually is. But when you step inside here, you don't see an interior that looks like it's something from, almost 4 decades ago. This is a fully modern interior, or at least it's pretty much about the maximum as to what Mercedes-Benz designers and engineers can do with a car that's nearly 4 decades old. Now, this one here is the G550, just to be clear here, is the base model. You have the G63 and the G65 AMG models. I'll talk more about those in a few minutes as well. But the G550, this is the base model. You have the standard black leather here. You can get various trim packages, but this G550 is pretty much bare bones. And yet, it's still very nicely equipped. You have this large high-res display screen with Mercedes-Benz's Command Infotainment system, dual-zone automatic climate control, Harman Kardon surround sound system, 10-way power heated and ventilated front seats with memory and lumbar support, heated rear seats, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto capability, privacy glass, 3 power outlets. I mean, this is, for me personally, I don't think I would need a whole lot more in an SUV. Now, the rear seat, okay. This is when things kind of get interesting and why the G-Wagon is really not for everybody. Rear seat space, there's not a whole lot of it. Yes, you can get 3 passengers back here. It's going to be tight, even for 2. You have to remember this about the G-Wagon. It is tall and kind of narrow. And you feel it when you're inside. And in terms of build quality, this is just absolutely exceptional. The G-Wagon, it's built like a rock. What can I say? It's assembled in Ganz, Austria. Has been for decades, and they take a lot of pride in these things. And even from the driver's seat here, it's got this kind of very just basic, bare bones look to it. You can tell this dash design is not the original. I guess what you see right here, it is much better than what it used to be. It's very modern, especially with that large touchscreen, the Command Infotainment system there. But notice that just because of the design and the engineering here, the buttons on the center dash there, they're really kind of far down. It's a bit of a reach for the driver and even the front seat passenger. In Command, it's controlled by this rotary dial. Now notice that it doesn't have that touchpad that other brand new Mercedes-Benz have. And I'm really glad, because the touchpad, even though it's cool and it works kind of like literally a touchpad smartphone screen that you can pinch and squeeze to focus in on this larger screen here, it's kind of a distraction. I prefer the rotary dial anyway, but either way, that touchpad, it's not offered here. You get just the rotary dial, and I think that's more than satisfactory. And as far as the command system goes, like I said, you have standard Apple CarPlay and Android Auto capability. It's an overall just a very nice system. And the learning curve on it, I really don't think there is one. You could step into it, and if you haven't played with an infotainment system before, just because the overall layout, it's so intuitive and so just plain logical, anybody can figure this out. And when you take a look at something like this G Wagon, it's just, does it look safe? Yeah, because it is pretty safe. And just like Mercedes-Benz is updating the engines, which I'll get to shortly as well, this dashboard, the interior, everything, it's also equipping the G Wagon, the G550 here, with some of the latest safety technologies. You got standard blind spot assist, electronic stability control with electronic stability control trailer stabilization, ABS brakes, rear view camera, rain sensing, windshield wipers, you name it. Yep, here's that dual zone automatic climate control. No tri-zone or quad zone, but hey, it's okay. It's a G-Wagon. This thing is just wicked cool. I'll take it even if it just had basic air conditioning. I really don't care. You do get a standard power sunroof, so that's kind of cool. And that is your 7-speed automatic transmission. Again, I'll get to more of that when I talk about the engines in a few more minutes here. But you can tell that this vehicle, it's kind of narrow inside just by this glove box, or I'm sorry, the side compartment here, or rather the compartment in the center console. It is kind of narrow. It's not as wide as something you would get in, say, a Toyota Land Cruiser or a Land Rover, Range Rover, any of those really premium full-size SUVs. They're much more modern than this. Look at, those are where your cup holders are. There's just not a lot of center console space. And I like that. It kind of gives it, the G-Wagon, a real sort of military feel. And in fact, that's what the G-Wagon was originally developed to be. A military SUV. In fact, the Mercedes-Benz got the idea to build the original G-Wagon decades ago from, get this, the Shah of Iran, who is clearly no longer in power. Because he was a shareholder in Mercedes-Benz at the time, he suggested, hey, look, you need an SUV that can be a great military vehicle. It's very robust, it's tough, it can take a beating, and the original G-Wagon was a result, and it's just evolved over the years and it became a popular civilian vehicle. Now, some other interesting safety technology that the G550 here has, it's called Distance Pilot Distronic Plus. And basically, it's a radar-based cruise control that adapts your set speed to the flow of traffic ahead, automatically slowing until your path is clear again. Now, if the vehicle ahead slows to a stop, the Distronic system can brake your car to a full halt. And when traffic moves, you can resume with just a simple tap, or automatically if the stop is under only a second. And the system's steering pilot feature helps the driver keep the vehicle centered in between the lane markings while cruising on straight roads, or even in kind of gentle curves. So yeah, again, it's cool to see Mercedes-Benz giving this G-Wagon here modern tech. And from the outside, it's kind of that old school SUV, which I just love. This is, like I said, the exact opposite of a crossover, and a crossover more or less is a front-wheel drive sedan platform raised with an SUV-like body design. And as you can imagine from the driver's seat, yeah, you sit up high. You feel like you are in an SUV. This does not drive like a car. It is a little bumpy, but I didn't have any complaints. That's part of the experience of being in this. Another cool safety feature I wanted to tell you about is called Parktronic, and it's ultrasonic sensors in the front and rear bumpers that detect nearby objects within the system's field of view. Now, audible signals and illuminated displays in the cabin will help you navigate tight spaces with increased confidence. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. And as far as the seats go here, these are, 10-way power heated and ventilated front seats. They're very comfortable. Mercedes-Benz knows how to make its passengers comfortable in its vehicles. So these are not like kind of faux leather military seats or anything like that. It's this is luxury inside. Even the steering wheel, it's got that nice leather and wood trim there. Now take a look in the rear seat. This is what I mean. It's kind of tight. There's not a lot of knee room and decent amount of headroom, but It's narrow, and you feel it. But I'll tell you this, when you drive around in one of these G-Wagons, you get a lot of attention. People stop and stare just because it has such presence. I love the way the rear tailgate opens there. Just a simple door. You have standard 40 cubic feet of cargo space. The rear seats, they're 60-40 split folding. And wait until you see how Mercedes-Benz had to engineer that. Just because, again, it's an old car. It's hard to adapt it sometimes for modern day features and requirements, but they did it. So how does something like this drive? Well, just to be clear, you can't turn off stability controls completely because this thing is both heavy and powerful, and that's just a recipe for accidents. But man, it'll go anywhere you want it to go. You got a lot of ground clearance and big 19-inch wheels. See? That is how you have to fold the second row seats. You got to remove the headrests because there's just not enough space for them. Again, this is a 40-year-old literally vehicle at its heart. There's only so much Mercedes-Benz engineers can do. But still, with the second row seats folded, you got plenty of cargo space here. The fact that this is a pretty narrow vehicle could be a deal breaker for some. I can imagine people cross-shopping maybe with the Toyota Land Cruiser, Land Rover Range Rover, Infiniti QX80 perhaps. All of those offer a lot more space inside. But I don't think any of them are quite as cool, especially when you got what's under the hood here. This is a twin-turbo 4-liter V8. 416 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque. Power goes to all four wheels through Mercedes-Benz 4MATIC four-wheel drive system through a 7-speed automatic transmission with shift paddles. Now, this car also features start-stop technology, and yeah, this is just a beast of an engine, but it's still not the AMG G63 or the AMG G65. I'll get to those details in a minute, but let's give this engine a startup here so that you can listen. All right, performance, 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.7 seconds. You'll do the quarter mile in about 14.4 seconds at around 97 miles per hour. Fuel economy. All right, 13 miles per gallon in the city, 14 on the highway, and a combined 13. Yeah, the vehicle weighs just over 5,880 pounds. Yes, this is quite heavy, and it looks it. Yeah, and check out those 19-inch wheels and all-season tires. The AMG models have 20-inch wheels, by the way. And speaking of AMG models, let's talk about them. So you have the AMG G63. And AMG, of course, is Mercedes-Benz's high-performance brand. It is the direct competitor to BMW's M Division. Now, the AMG G63 has a handcrafted 5.5-liter twin-turbo V8 with 563 horsepower and 561 pound-feet of torque. It'll get from 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds. Then there's the AMG G65. That's got a 6-liter twin-turbo V12 with 621 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of twist, 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.3 seconds. So yeah, if you want to get something even more luxurious, faster, more powerful, go for the AMG G63 and the AMG G65. But you're going to pay for them. So let's talk about pricing here. Now, the base price for the G550 that you see here is $119,000. Our tester with the $925 destination fee had 0 other options. The black paint, the black leather, that's all standard. All told, this vehicle right here is $120,825. The base model with no added options. And yet it's really badass cool. Now, the price of the AMG G63 with its handcrafted 5.5-liter twin-turbo V8 begins at $141,400. So for about $20,000 more, you can get the AMG G63, and it has about I don't know, an extra 147 horsepower over this one for 20 grand more. So the way I see it, if you can afford $120,000, paying $140,000 is not going to break your bank whatsoever. Go for the G63 AMG. Now the G65, that begins at $220,400, and with that twin turbo V12, that is the AMG G65 is quite rare. You're not going to see too many of those, but I think the sweet spot in the G class lineup is the AMG G63. You're getting quite a bit more power. Again, an extra 147 ponies and a lot of AMG goodness. It's got the hand-built AMG bi-turbo V8. I mean, it's just a cooler car for not much more money, and you're already spending six figures, so what's another 20 grand? All right, so what's some of the competition here? Well, like I said, it's kind of hard to tell because this thing is just so truly unique and special. The Toyota Land Cruiser, it's a Lexus equivalent, the Lexus LX, the Cadillac Escalade I'll also toss in there, the Land Rover Range Rover Sport, and the Infiniti QX80. All those have a price range. For example, the Land Cruiser begins at about $85,000. The Cadillac Escalade begins at about 75 grand, but the Escalade can now go up to about $100,000 as well. So what do I like here? Well, man, just look at it. They got that classic old school design. It's just unapologetic in every way for what it is. It's just fantastic at off-roading. This is what you would be in when the zombie apocalypse arrives. You'll survive. You'll be one of the survivors. What don't I like? Well, the fact that this one right here, it's not the AMG version. Yeah, it's a little narrow inside. Nothing you can do about that. It's just the G Wagon. You got to make a few sacrifices here. And like I keep saying, it's worth forking over the additional 20 grand for the AMG G63. But I'm out of time for today, everyone. Thanks again for watching. If you have any more questions for me, just leave them in the comment section below. Any suggestions for future unboxing reviews, also leave those for me in the comment section. Be sure to subscribe to the CarBuzz Unboxing YouTube channel. See you all next time.